It's the ACC on ESPN tonight here in Littlejohn Coliseum. The 2018 and 19 season begins. The Citadel Bulldogs from the Southern Conference are in to take on the number 22 Clemson Tigers. And hi, friends, and welcome aboard with Kelly Gramlich, Pete Hannity with you. The Tigers coming off that wonderful run in 2017 and 18 to the Sweet 16 and a 25-win campaign. Kelly, if nothing else we know out of the opposition, we're going to see the three-pointer launched early and often this evening.
We're going to see the three ball from many Citadel players. One of them, Matt Frierson. He's made a three in 38 consecutive games. That sounds like a Hunter Renfro streak. Set the single-season Citadel record with 114 three-point makes last season. And here you see Marquise Reed, Clemson's preseason second-team selection, All-ACC second-team, averaged nearly 16 points per game last year, second on the team in assists. After that Dante Grantham injury, which happened about midway in the ACC mark, Marquise Reed averaged over 17 points per game, really stepped up his game when Grantham went down.
He was one of the three Tigers to reach 1,000 points in their careers 1 year ago. So here we go, the tip-off. It'll be Eli Thomas for the Tigers back for another season. He was a game-time decision, recently been bothered by some issues in the foot area. Zain Najdawi jumping center for the Bulldogs, and we're underway here in 2018 and 19. Great to have you on board. Tigers trying to extend a couple of streaks this evening. Our officials for the ball game, A.J. Desai, Sean Hull, and Scott Arbogast. Clemson going for a 34th consecutive opening win on the season and looking for 16 straight against the Bulldogs. Tigers starting five, and you see the early strike and the early advantage for the home team.
Clemson's going to go to Eli Thomas early and often. The tallest player for Citadel, 6'9". Their five-man, Najdawi, is only 6'7".
Connor Kern, second from the left on that lineup chart. One to keep an eye on for the Bulldogs. He's a graduate transfer with 2 years left. He's a good shooter. Bulldogs also have a new point guard. That's him with the ball, Lou Stallworth, who's played at El Paso and also Texas Rio Grande Valley in his career. And one of their returnees, Kalon Harris, the early strike, and the Bulldogs the early advantage.
And that's what Citadel wants to do. They want to get threes. They prefer threes over almost anything else. And there was Harris, who shot 33.7% from beyond the arc last season.
Bulldogs just 11 and 21 a year ago. They were 5 and 13 in the Southern Conference, but they are optimistic this year. Amir Sims answering from long range for the Tigers. A year ago, he shot 33 beyond the arc himself.
It looked like the Citadel was almost giving Amir Sims the three, and Sims said, if you're going to give it to me, I'm going to take it.
Down the lane goes Kern, known more as a shooter. Thomas might have gotten in the way of that shot. A year ago, Thomas nearly 80 blocks on the season. Tigers' little run and gun. And it'll come down to Stallworth. Here come the Bulldogs. You're going to see a lot of threes out of that guy. Frierson thought about the pull-up. Harris underneath Najdawi, preseason All-SoCon player. Harris again. And a Bulldogs team that a year ago hit him at 41% beyond the arc. They got to like the start they've gotten tonight.
Harris is feeling it early, and Citadel applying a little pressure. One of their mottos this season is embrace the pace. They want to play quickly. They want to force you to play quickly, whether you like it or not.
That's the guy's motto you see at the bottom of your screen. Their fourth-year head coach, Duggar Bauckham. We'll tell you more about him in a moment. But this team's got it up and down at VMI, and likewise at the Citadel. Nothing doing for Shelton Mitchell. Here's Harris. Stallworth, their new point guard, replaced a player named Frankie Johnson who decided to move on after a couple of years, but Stallworth gives him a stronger player at that position. Little pump fake, Najdawi, and over to get it is Sims. Nice job recovering defensively by the Tigers. Underneath, there's Skara, and he'll head to the line.
That was a great catch by Skara. The pass was a bit off. David Skara made an athletic move in the air to recover that pass, and then still found a way to draw contact inside.
So you see the pump fake, but here is Sims coming over.
Amir Sims protecting the rim. That time Eli Thomas got blown by, for lack of a better word, but Amir Sims had his back. Was a little late to help side, but still found a way to make a big block there.
Sims had 29 blocks a year ago. Skara from the line last season was at 59%. Duggar Bauckham trying to spring the upset his fourth season at the Citadel. Prior to that, he was at VMI. And he has done a job rebuilding a program that has not had a great basketball lineage. The last time a Citadel team beat a Clemson team was back in 1979. Tigers lead the all-time series 61-22. But at the pace they play, they can upset just about anyone any night, because if they're hot in your night, it can be a long one. Frierson can't get that one to go. Tigers look to build on their lead. We have a couple of early lead changes. Skara can't get it to go. He's trying to add some offense to his defense and rebounding skills. Here's Stallworth the other way. Teardrop runner, nothing doing.
This game has been very up and down. I think that's more how Citadel wants to play, but Clemson seems inclined to run as well.
Thomas. Eli Thomas had been laid up for about 2 weeks with that injury, so he's trying to get back in the flow. It's the transfer from Arkansas State with the ball. Kern going to drive inside, and he's able to get the roll going over Sims. Strong move to the basket for Connor Kern, who averaged just 4 points a game at Arkansas State last year. There is Reed taking it to the hole. Tigers, as you noted, returning fire quickly.
That's right. It seems Clemson wants to run. Citadel's been playing more of a half-court game, running their offense, and the Tigers have gotten out in transition.
Something we don't expect to see is a whole lot of mid-range jumpers out of the Citadel.
That's right. Their coach told us, Coach Bachman told us in pregame, they don't even practice mid-range jumpers. Don't even bother with him. He doesn't see the point of a mid-range jumper. A long two, as I always say, Pete, is the worst shot in basketball, and he agrees.
Brad Brownell beginning season number 9, trying for his 150th win at the helm of the Clemson Tigers. What a breakout season his team had a year ago. And frankly, he well could have been the guy to land the ACC Coach of the Year, but he has done a great job with his Clemson team, getting them back in the right direction. They're top 25 in the nation, although he said yesterday he doesn't look at this team right now that he has as the number 22 team in the land, but some injuries may have contributed to that here from preseason games and into the opener tonight. He
said they weren't playing yet like the top 22 or a top 22 team in the country, but that was without Eli Thomas, who is so important to this Clemson team, especially defensively.
Reed going to load up from long range. Halfway down it comes out. Thomas battling inside. And eventually the scrappy play and taken away by the Bulldogs. Real good hustle that time by the Citadel's Hayden Brown to return to the upstate tonight. Stallworth driving to the bucket. He's fouled, and we'll see him at the line. Timeout on the court. Opening ball game of the season for both these teams. Back and forth so far as we expected. One-point lead for Clemson early on as we welcome you back to Littlejohn Coliseum. And along with Kelly Gramlich, Pete Hannity back with you. And what we thought we would see, we have seen so far. Back and forth it goes. Tigers against the 3 last year. Well, 35% not bad. Brad Brownell, though, says he wants to see better defense out of his team coming into the season compared to last year when opponents shot over 40.
That's right. He wants you to get out and contest that 3. And right now, Citadel's only taken 3 threes for a team that attempted 35 a game last year. They've made 2 of them, though, so Clemson has to make sure to get out on those shooters, especially in transition. It seems like the Tigers are okay playing a quicker game today. And I think, of course, when you have the guard depth that Clemson has, their roster is more conducive to that.
Lou Stallworth, one of the 2 transfers they're really counting on the Bulldogs. We noted UTEP was his first college stop. After a year there, he ended up at Texas Rio Grande Valley, which used to be known as Texas Pan American. Here he is for a final year of eligibility. And last season, 72% from the line. Splits his opportunities there. We're tied up at 9 apiece. Clyde Trapp on the court, the sophomore from the Columbia area. And his role increasing with some attrition on the team in the preseason. Brad Brownell will take that each and every game out of Trapp.
You want to see Trapp become more consistent, and they're moving him to that backup point guard role so you can give Shelton Mitchell a blow when you need to. That's a good start for Clyde Trapp in this game.
And we've got a whistle away from the ball. And Stallworth will be called for the illegal screen.
You see Clyde Trapp here. He said, "You're going to give me mid-range? I'll take it." They came down on the screen. No one went up to pressure the shooter. Clyde Trapp, wide open.
Second team foul on the Bulldogs, as you see. 1 so far in the Tigers. Trapp, who, of course, played his AAU ball for the former Tiger guard Ed Scott. So he knew all about this Clemson program. Tigers going with that 3-out look, which I would suppose we'll see a lot of tonight. A lot of in the early stages of the season. As they wait for Malik William to get healthy. Skara on the drive. And here come the Bulldogs. Just into the game. Another Columbia area native. And what a finish. Counted in the foul for Caden Rice out of Ridgeview High in Columbia. And speaking of Clyde Trapp, of course, is an alum of Lower Richland. So those guys have played high school against each other. Take another look.
Even though they've played against each other in high school, I'm not sure Clyde Trapp has seen Rice make a shot like that. Wow. Incredible attack, and then what a finish. Just really throwing it up there and praying it goes in.
The first on Clyde Trapp. Team fouls even at 2 apiece. Caden Rice, solid freshman year for the Bulldogs. 5.7 a game. He was the 4A State Player of the Year as a senior at Ridgeview High, just north of Columbia. And he's a guy they hope can pick up the scoring a little bit for them this season.
And much like every Bulldog, he can shoot the three. He had a game last year against Western Carolina, knocked down 8 threes. Every single player on the Citadel roster last year made at least 1 3. And in order to play for the Citadel, you got to be able to shoot.
And they're going to get the foul against Hayden Brown. Told you he returns to the upstate. He played at Burns High in Spartanburg County, won a state title while he was there. So Citadel now, 3 team fouls. Inbounding for the Tigers, saw David Scarr go to the bench, and Hunter Tyson, a freshman this Clemson team is going to count on much, 6'8", out of Monroe, North Carolina. Some pressure by the Bulldogs. They're apt to do that. Sims will give it back to Mitchell. Tigers will set it up.
And that's what pressure like that does. It's token pressure to a certain extent, but now Clemson only has 15 seconds on the shot clock to run their offense.
Mitchell will fire from long range. Shelton Mitchell. Last season he hit him 37% beyond the arc.
Who needs to run the offense when you can just shoot that right there, Pete? Shelton Mitchell didn't need much time to knock down that three.
Rason Williams just checked in for the Citadel team, and the Greensboro, North Carolina native, able to get his team back within a point. You see how fast the Citadel goes in their half-court set. Oh, and a little pickpocket that time by Williams, who a year ago had 34 steals. Frierson, and the senior who set a Bulldog record for threes last season, gives his team a 2-point advantage.
That's the best case scenario for Citadel. Force a turnover with pressure, find an open shooter.
Tyson feeds, Sims with a finish.
A good decision from the freshman Tyson. Draw your man and dish. Let the big guy finish in Amir Sims.
If you like scoring, you found the right stop on the spectrum this evening. Oh, and stepping in front, Reed. Let's see if he throws it down. He worked on a couple of those in the preseason. Marquise Reed led this team with 58 steals. A year ago, that was a pick 6. Tigers back up by 2.
Gets this Tiger crowd going, and a large contingent of students here.
Crossover spin move by Reed for the Bulldogs. That's Alex Reed, no relation to the Tigers' Marquise. He's a sophomore out of Raleigh, and we're tied up.
Reed's another one of those sophomores for the Citadel that played a good bit last year, but they're going to need a few of those sophomores, Reed and Caden Rice, to step into bigger roles this year.
This opening night crowd turning out here, and Littlejohn and watching Shelton Mitchell feeling it from out front.
Shelton Mitchell's feeling it, especially from right at the top of the key. He's a few feet off the three-point line, and Citadel is kind of giving him that shot, and he's going to take it.
Brown thought about it. All these guys have the license to shoot for the Citadel team. Almost the Loyola Marymount Paul Westhead theory back in the 80s of shoot only if you have the ball, and when you can knock them down like that. Frierson 36% a year ago, you're going to take it.
We're not lying to you folks when we say Citadel attempted 35 threes a game last year. They want to shoot as many threes as possible, get as many possessions as possible, and frankly shoot as few twos as possible, because threes are worth more than twos.
Mitchell this time left wing. Look at Reed scrapping among the big guys. A deflection though to Brown. Why not, says Williams, who went through a real shooting slump a year ago, looked better in preseason. Reed the hustle play. Let's see if Sims can fall on it. Still a scramble for the ball. And did he get timeout? No, it's going to be a held ball. And the arrow will point the Citadel's way. We'll take a timeout. Got ourselves a shootout here in Littlejohn to start out this 18-19 campaign. With Kelly Gramlich, Pete Hannity with you back at Littlejohn. You see our score. The trays have been flying so far, but the deuces, you might say, have been involved as well.
Pete, good defense keeps the opponent from scoring. Great defense leads to offense. You see Williams with the pickpocket, finds Frierson wide open for an open look. He's going to knock that down more often than not. And then Clemson with some defense of their own. A steal here from Marquise Reed and a slam. And I love what you said, Pete, a pick 6 for Marquise Reed.
So number 2 on each team getting it done so far. It's not just been the threes, but again, we're going to see them a bunch. And we mentioned this Citadel team and all their three-pointers, over 1,440. In fact, 1,446 the past 3 seasons. 66 better than anyone in the nation. Akron is second during that 3-year stretch. They were probably trying to load one up that time, but let's see. foul situation, and Amir Sims will be rung up.
That's his
First on Sims. Take another look.
You see Najdawi going against Sims inside. They called him for a little bit of a hand check there. It wasn't even really the body. Sims surprised by that call, as you can see by his face.
Frierson, the catch and shoot. Give Mitchell credit for getting in the way of that.
Made Frierson take a tough shot there. He was off balance, had to adjust in the air.
Skara, Thomas, and they're going to get Najdawi on the floor. Zane Najdawi, the All-SoCon performer a year ago in preseason this year.
I'm not sure how much Coach Brownell wants to play Eli Thomas tonight because he's been dealing with that ankle injury and you're so early in the year. But he can go to work down low, Pete. He has such a mismatch inside. If he gets positioned, Clemson has to get him the ball every time he's open.
Big point right there. He's got to go to the bench, picking up that second personal foul. He's a guy who leads them in both scoring and rebounding. And is their best inside defender. John Newman, the third, son of the former NBA player out of Richmond, on the court, stalwart. Tyler Burgess, who grew up in Pickens County, just into the game, replacing Najdawi. Can't get that one to go. He sat out of basketball a year ago. He's a native out of Easley. Skara inside, contact, and the charge is drawn. Hayden Brown. And so for David Skara, he picks up his second, so a couple of post players, each with 2 fouls apiece, and we're even in the team foul category.
Great position by Hayden Brown. Set his feet, knew Skara was going to go downhill from the short corner, and Brown drew the charge. Textbook right there.
They tell us Brown has taken away about 15 pounds of fat and added 15 pounds of muscle this season.
Coach said he's eating a lot more salads.
There you go.
He smiled when he said that, so it's a good thing.
And Burgess, Tyler Burgess, we told you he decided to sit basketball out a year ago and work on academics, and the team, as we noted, 1,446 three-pointers over the past 3 years. Do the quick math. That is a bunch of made threes. Just think of how many they've attempted in that stretch. Bulldogs have 3-point advantage. Tiger team with really only 8 healthy, maybe 9 healthy scholarship players that could play tonight. And Thomas is a guy they've just gotten back off the injured list. And Eli Thomas throwing it down.
Great pass by John Newman. Drew the defense and found his big man.
Turn. Brown. Oh, he doesn't get the friendly roll back in his home area.
Fortunate for Clemson, you can't leave a shooter like that. Eli Thomas was not in help side on that shooter.
Tyson, the freshman, goes inside. Brown was trying to pick up another charge, but nothing doing. And now 2 on Hayden Brown. Had an early stretch where no personal fouls were called, but they've started to build up a little bit.
You see Hunter Tyson and John Newman III both in for Clemson, both true freshmen, playing early in this first game, and that's rare in the Coach Brownell era. You really don't see freshmen play this quickly under Brownell, but he's told us he's very excited about John Newman and Hunter Tyson. He thinks they're both already ready to contribute for Clemson right now.
Tyson heavily recruited out of Piedmont High, just east of Charlotte. Harris back in. Take a look at that foul once again, and Brown was disappointed he didn't again get credit for drawing a charge.
Brown tried to take another charge, but Tyson avoided him that time, and you're not going to get that call. He did try. Give him credit for that one, but that one's not as cut and dry as the previous charge.
Tyson picking the Tigers over Michigan, Davidson, Tennessee, and Wake Forest, among others. 1 out of 2. We're tied up this time at 24. Harris, who was forced to sit out of the Southern Conference tournament, the 2 games the Bulldogs played there in March last year for Citadel overall college institutional reasons. Reed with a stop and pop. Marquise Reed. Toby's been working on a lot of kind of misdirection moves in his game, landing on the wrong foot kind of plays during the offseason.
It was a good attack from Reed because you need to go towards Thomas. Thomas has a defender on that's not going to leave him. So that time Marquise Reed found the opening.
How about Eli Thomas drawing the charge against Kalon Harris?
It's not exactly rare that Thomas draws a charge, but to draw a charge outside the paint, I don't know if we've seen Eli draw one outside of the painted area. Great presence of mind from the senior there.
So the foul against Harris, that's his first. Thomas looks like he's in better condition than a year ago. Tigers a 2-point lead. Citadel now with those 16 fouls, so 1 away from sending Clemson on the line. Trap back out there. Thomas looked back door. Instead, the elbow jump.
And that's still one part of Thomas's game that you might want to see develop a little more. The mid-range game, he's been better with the short hooks and the floaters, but the mid-range still has a way to go.
Stallworth. The time of the shot clock. Here's Stallworth from the wing. And they're going to get Harris on a second quick foul as Tyson flew over to get the rebound. Good job by the freshman Tyson. I think Duggar Bachman not necessarily in agreement with that, as you might imagine. And Elon Harris, a couple of quick fouls, so he'll head to the bench, and Alex Reed back in for this Citadel team.
Coach Bachman probably not in agreement, but also frustrated because now you send Clemson to the line this early in the first half, still with 8 minutes and 44 seconds to go, and you send a good shooter in Tyson to the line as well. You stop the clock, you give Clemson some free points, you let them take a breather a bit because you've been going so quickly. A lot of negatives with this for the Citadel.
Tigers 75% from the free throw line last season as a team. Of course, Tyson was not with the squad. And the freshman now 2 out of 3 from the line in the ball game. Tigers already with Marquise Reed, a double-figure scorer, while Frierson, or I take that back. The Clemson team already has a couple of players with half a dozen points. And the Citadel team, which is, as they typically do, spread their scoring out as well. But neither team with anyone more than 6 points so far. Tyson will hit the bench. Clemson building. Now to the biggest lead of the ball game so far by either team.
This game's been very back and forth, similar to the pace, up and down, back and forth. Neither team been able to find much separation early.
Frierson, a guy you got to stay on the shoe tops of. Such a good shooter for them. Reed, spin move on Thomas. Oh, what a pretty floater at the finish by Alex Reed, who averaged 5.5 a game last season, now a sophomore. Scored over 13 points in high school, so you know he's comfortable doing that. And
Reed knows at 6'5", he has to do something when he attacks Eli Thomas. You can't just go up with the ball. That's going to be a block. So an impressive misdirection spin move from Reed.
Right wing trap. And Stallworth battling inside. Comes away with a rebound. Kern. And Reed stumbling. There was trap. Ahead Sims. Little gentle finish by Amir Sims. And the Tigers sophomore now with 7 points, and that leads all scores so far in the game.
One of the downsides of shooting so many threes is those end up in long rebounds, and long rebounds are much easier to start the break with.
Burgess hit a 3 earlier off the bench. Can't get that one to go. Tigers looking to build their biggest lead so far in this ball game. And Reed, does that one roll out?
Reed's had 2 of those that were in and out, completely rimmed out there.
Off good looks as well. Stallworth driving on Newman, and the Tiger freshman will go ahead and be called for the personal foul, and that'll pull the Tigers within a couple of the Citadel. Look at the spin move by Reed, making it happen, taking it inside for the Bulldogs. Tigers, though, Amir Sims. Nice finish on the break. Clemson by 4 so far.
Clemson leading the Citadel 30-26 here in Littlejohn Coliseum. Early ACC action, and we have a replay here for Clemson. You pause it right there when Newman starts to attack. The second Stallworth right here, when he commits, he turns, he's going to try to defend Newman. That's when Newman realizes that Eli's going to be open if he continues to commit. If you roll it right here, guys, you can see Stallworth steps up, tries to take the charge. Good presence of mind there from Newman to dish to his big man Eli Thomas. An easy 2 there, and that was really made possible because Stallworth was switched off to Thomas on an earlier ball screen.
Already 10 lead changes, nearly a turnover by the Bulldogs on the inbound. Turnovers so far, 4 by each team. Reed giving on the baseline. Nash Dowie quiet so far and back in there with those 2 personal fouls. Tigers defend well, but then give it up, and then the Bulldogs give it up. Thomas for Sims.
Clemson continuing to play well and score in transition, but that's been huge, Pete. Najdawi has been almost non-existent so far. Their leading scorer from a year ago averaged almost 16 points per game last year.
And he's a good three-point shooter at 6'7", 41% a year ago. Missing that time. Tigers look to build on their biggest lead so far. Good idea that time. Now Mitchell couldn't get a third straight one to go from that spot. Bulldogs do something they rarely do, slow the pace.
They've slowed it down more than I anticipated. And I think that's because Clemson has embraced the pace a bit too. So just out of pure necessity, they want to run some clock and might not have the depth to keep running for 40 minutes.
Burgess with Newman right there on his shoe tops, and a guy who played at both Liberty High and Easley High in this county during high school. We'll see his team keep possession.
Here's the steal from Eli Thomas. Marquise Reed was in there. And then Eli Thomas playing a little point guard right there. The court vision, getting the ball up to his front court mate in Amir Sims. And you see there, Amir Sims, 9 points for Clemson. The sophomore having a good night so far. And then the backcourt for Clemson, Mitchell and Reed, each with 6.
I think he's the guy that's got to kind of, in a combined way, fill the void of Dante Grantham and Gabe DeVoe's departure. Stallworth beating the buzzer, and he hits a 3, 31% a year ago at Texas Rio Grande Valley, but suddenly it's a 3-point game.
And that's Citadel's 6th 3. They've shot 16, so they've attempted 16. That's really about average for the Citadel. 6-3 so far, on pace to make 12 like they did last year, 12 per game.
Mitchell changes hands. Here Sims coming into this ball game. Very solid work of the freshman. 3 times he scored 10 points. Hey, Marquise Reed's going to score a whole lot more than that night in and night out. What a job throwing it home. Back up by 5 is Clemson.
You mentioned Reed's pick 6 earlier. That was a bit of a scoop and score.
Tigers making it happen defensively and offensively. Stallworth, little on big, kicks it. Williams. Stallworth, no look. Williams thought about it from outside. We're going to get a foul inside. I think they're going to get Eli Thomas. Marquise Reed is a guy who is a pure scorer, says Brad Brownell.
He is. He's a pure scorer. He wants to get buckets. Brownell said that too. And when you give him the opportunity there to get a steal and take one dribble and throw it down, it's going to look just like that.
And again, he led the team with 58 steals a year ago, so let's not shortchange him on his defense.
He did. He does it all. He averaged nearly 5 rebounds, over 3 assists. He's not just a scorer. Brownell talks about how he's a cold-blooded scorer, and he is, but he can do everything, and he's also a good defender.
As Dowie trying to get on the board and driving inside on one of the new Tigers, Javen White, the graduate transfer from Oral Roberts, who has a couple of years to play. And that'll be the first on him. So now each team was 7 apiece.
And you see Javen White, who just got into the action, and that time was not on the right side of that screen. He thought maybe there was going to be a handoff. Should have been one step closer to the baseline, knowing that Naj Dowie, who's a prolific scorer for the Bulldogs, was going to try to attack the basket.
Naj Dowie, that all-SoCon performer, who's the first at the Citadel since 2015, was a 71% free throw shooter. Really good player, and a guy that Durger Balkum, the head coach, tried to get to go to VMI in the last year that Balkum ended up being at VMI. Naj Dowie picked the Citadel, and then Balkum gets hired to be his coach of the Citadel. So, surprise, surprise, here I am. But Naj Dowie's played great for him.
And Balkum said he's one of the best foremen that he's ever coached. And so very fortunate that he happened to end up at the Citadel when he wanted him to be at VMI.
3-point lead again for Clemson. Naj Dowie is now tied for 17th all-time in points, driving inside. I think they're going to get Brown on that foul for the Bulldogs, and they will.
Clyde Trapp, known more for his ability to attack the basket. Not exactly the shooter yet that Reed and Mitchell are. He sees an opening, gets right to that ACC logo, and draws contact. Like we said earlier, he's playing a bit of backup point guard, but they're still going to play him on the wing as well. He can play both spots, and that's going to lead to more playing time for him because he can be used in many different ways.
3 fouls now on Hayden Brown. Turned back in as Brown goes to the bench. Clyde Trapp, now a sophomore out of Columbia's Lower Richland. 74% from the line a season ago, and again, you got to think Clyde Trapp's role is really enhanced in this season.
Especially with the recent announcement of A.J. Oliver transferring and going to play somewhere else. Clyde Trapp, because he can play both guard spots, I think you're going to see a lot of him, and it matters how he plays. If he plays well, he's going to earn more and more playing time.
Stallworth will crossover inside on White. Look at the rebound by Reed, doing it all. Mitchell, baseline move, and a nice one by Newman. Had a Greensboro day. Brad Brownell saying he's been playing better than they actually expected this early in his career. Tigers back up by 7, matching their largest lead so far in the game.
7-point lead for Clemson. Finally starting to feel a little bit of separation there. It was back and forth early, but Citadel's cooled off a bit from the floor, and Clemson's gotten it done from the free throw line.
And Nash Dowie, and that was pretty obvious, and that'll be number 3 on him. Clemson team starting to see the fouls amass in the Citadel. John Newman saying hello to the Clemson fandom. Tigers lead by 7. No, Gabe DeVoe hasn't come back to watch Clemson play. That is Clemson superfan Christian Wilkins, who said today in the pregame news conference he hopes that it's sleeting and raining and cold in his native New England. He can't wait to get back near his hometown when the Tigers go to Boston College.
He's probably one of the only Tigers that likes going up north to play football with that weather, but hey, he's used to it. He comes from that, and as we've said, Pete, we see Christian Wilkins everywhere. He's at volleyball matches, he's here at basketball, he'll be at women's basketball. He truly is a Clemson superfan.
And he's become quite the offensive threat in football as well. Tigers back at it. We had 10 early lead changes, but Clemson's been in front for the better part of the past 8-9 minutes on the game clock. Nice idea that time, and a nice finish at the bucket. Marquise Reed.
Marquise Reed saw Clyde Trapp stopped under the bucket looking for an outlet, and Reed cut right to the middle. Good cut from Reed.
First player in double figures scoring-wise in the game now with 10 for Reed. Good find on the wing. Kern. Swat out high, but there's Trapp. Here come the Tigers, 3-on-2. Trapp gets the friendly bounce.
Clemson doing what the Citadel would never do. Pull up for a mid-range jumper in transition. And right now, for the Citadel, the 3 is failing them in some ways. Only 6 for 17. Clemson shooting very well from the floor and doing it from all 3 levels.
Reed for the Bulldogs. Coming up on 10 on the shot clock, as you see. Stallworth will fire over Sims. Big bucket right there to try to break some of this Clemson momentum, after the Tigers have built that 11-point advantage.
Stallworth, who's come from 2 different programs, UTEP and UT Rio Grande, played nearly 81 Division I games. Only shot 31% from 3, but knocked that one down, and he's hit 2 tonight, Pete.
Trapp just inside the arc.
They're giving him that mid-range, and he's going to keep taking it. Clyde Trapp looks like a more confident version of himself from last year, and that's natural as he's a sophomore. He's progressing, but he knows there's minutes out there to be had, and he's taking full advantage of his.
Trapp with 8 points in his sophomore debut. A little scoop that time, not going to happen. Look at Reed soar for the rebounds. A year ago, at nearly 5 of those a game. What a great player he has been for this Tigers team. Looks for an assist right there, and Newman gives it to him and knocks down the tray. And correct me if I'm wrong, that is the first career 3-pointer for the Tiger out of Greensboro Day.
It is, and Reed there, the rebound and the assist. Marquise Reed right now has 9 rebounds so far, and it's not even halftime.
Biggest lead of this opening half for Clemson. Caden Rice, who like Newman comes from Greensboro and the same high school, Greensboro Day, and his answer right there, I should say that was Rice knocking it down. He's out of Columbia. It's Williams, who is from the Greensboro area. So Clyde Trapp now with the career high 8 points. He'd had 7 against UNC Asheville a year ago.
Pete, it's so interesting to me how much they're laying off Clyde Trapp, because I think over his freshman year he showed that he could hit the mid-range. I mean, albeit inconsistent at times, but they're laying off of him like he can't shoot at all. I'm very surprised at how much they're laying off of Clyde Trapp. Maybe they'll stop doing that in the second half because he's made them pay.
Trapp was a fine scorer in high school, was a winner in high school in a big way, and well, Brad Brownell knows that's a guy he's going to count on, not only for this year, but again, one of the most experienced backcourts in all the nation will be moving on after this season. So out of the gate next year, guys like Trapp and Newman will really need to be feeling comfortable running the show here. Brad Brownell, as year number 9 begins, on the verge of win number 150 with the Tigers, and he's getting close to 320 in his career, now in his 17th season as a Division I head coach. His third stop, UNC Wilmington, followed by Wright State, then Clemson. Nice find by another freshman for the Tigers, Tyson, inside with another sophomore, Sims.
Tyson had to throw that pass very quickly. He couldn't think about it, and he didn't. He threw it on instinct, because if he waited one more second, that thing would have been tipped or intercepted.
Sims now with a career high. As Amir Sims, 10 points 3 times last season. Now has 11 in the game. Answer inside by the Bulldogs. They pull back within 11, under a minute to play here in the opening half. One of the things we'll have for you at halftime, we're going to show you a new addition to Littlejohn Coliseum based on this Clemson basketball team's success. Tyson going to try one from out near the paw. Oh. Folks would have gone nuts had the freshman hit that one. Here come the Bulldogs. Stallworth and Tyson answering on the other end.
Great defense there from Tyson to stay in front and not foul. And then you see Marquise Reed coming up from behind him as well to provide a little extra defense. Good job by Tyson. No foul, straight up, and then a block on a smaller player.
Bulldogs inbound with 20 of time on the shot clock. And Reed thought about giving it to Stallworth, but a smart move instead as he goes back door.
Crafty inbounds play. Fake the handoff and turn the corner. Well drawn up there from Duger Backham.
Alex Reed giving him good minutes off the bench. Tigers playing for a final shot in this opening half of the 2018 and 19 campaign.
Citadel plays that zone, but I think they're still going to try ball screen.
I have a feeling Reed might be the one to take the shot. No, rebound by the Bulldogs. Frierson will simply heave it, and that's how we will arrive at the half. Clemson saw the Citadel out of the gate, firing away as they tend to do. Brad Brownell made the defensive adjustment. His team then going on to run to close the half with a 9-point advantage here in the opener in 2018 and 19. Tigers going for a 34th consecutive win in opening ball games. Streak that dates all the way back into the mid-80s, while the Citadel Bulldogs have not beaten a Clemson team in nearly 20 games. Seeing a whole lot of fun out of this Clemson team in the opening half, Kelly.
Clemson's playing well. You see shooting well from the floor. Not exactly playing in a Citadel's pace, but setting the pace there themselves. We'll come back for the second half in just a moment.
Getting ready for our second half here at Littlejohn in the 2018 and 19 season opener. Tigers ranked in the preseason as high as they've been since 09 and 10 at number 22 in the land. And I'll tell you what, they'll take 49 points in an opening half all the time. Really good output and a lot of scrappy play on the defensive end, in many cases creating some of the offense.
A lot of that defense has led to offense. We've seen a lot of three-point shooting tonight, though, Pete, from both teams. Citadel's knocked down 7 threes. You see one there from Harris. Harris has knocked down 2 threes tonight. They're always looking for that three. Citadel's always looking for the three, even when they're penetrating inside. There's another one from Harris. 38.9% from three. Not bad for the Citadel. They'd like to get that up a little more if they want to get back in this game. And then Clemson has also shot the ball well from three. They've knocked down 4 so far on the night. Amir Sims, not really known for his three-point prowess last year, but they need him to have that this year. And then Shelton Mitchell, 2 threes from basically identical spots on the floor. Top of the key, Shelton Mitchell, those 2 threes have given him 6 points in the first half.
Tigers forcing 6 turnovers in that opening half. A year ago they forced about 12 a game, so that's about on pace. Amir Sims, a guy who I noted in the first half, I truly believe it. He's got to kind of be a combination of Dante Grantham and Gabe DeVoe this season.
Which is a tall task, but I think he's up for it because he has the Dante Grantham body and the build, but he also can shoot it. We're not sure at exactly what clip he's going to shoot it this year. We know that Brownell said he's improved, but he's getting out in transition. He's all over the floor. Already a career high with 11 points tonight.
And Amir Sims has one of the craziest hobbies you could ever imagine for a big man. He loves mountain biking. Because when he was at high school, he went to an academy for his final 3 years of high school, a boarding school, and they made their student athletes do something in addition to just play their sport. They had to have another activity, they had to focus on their academics, play their sport, but they had to focus on something else. And so an option was mountain biking, and he took that up. And he was in Virginia over the hills and the dales, and so he became had a lot of fun with distance mountain biking.
I have to imagine that Coach Brownell has some sort of rule. No mountain biking in season.
Yes.
Maybe even during your time at Clemson, just to avoid injury. But there you go. That's interesting.
Can you imagine a 6'7", 240-pounder
it's got to be a big bike.
And it's the kind with the pedals, so...
I hope he wears a helmet, Pete.
I believe he did. In fact, I asked him that when I was interviewing about that very topic last year. So the good turnout of the fans. Brad Brownell also said that he is hoping that the Clemson basketball fans can show up in big numbers, not just for the ACC games and some of the marquee non-conference games they've got here in November, December, but for some of these games against mid-majors, because he says the energy it brings his team, you just can't quantify that. And I noticed a group of students were in the building when the doors opened just before 5:30. But he's hoping they really have atmosphere. Now, keep in mind, there's been fall break going on at Clemson, so maybe a lot of the students aren't back yet. But I would think they'll be coming back in tonight. But nonetheless, a really great opportunity to see this team. You would think a lot of good seats are available for these early games. And, of course, at ClemsonTigers.com, they've got all the ticket package details there for you. So hopefully a lot of atmosphere here in Littlejohn Coliseum over the early stages. Citadel plays in the place with a lot of atmosphere. All those cadets making noise down at McAllister Fieldhouse on their campus, but they have a hard time defending the man of the hour, Amir Sims, who continues his good scoring night as he's building on his career record now with 14.
Amir Sims has yet to miss a shot. He's 6 for 6 from the floor, 2 of 2 from 3. He looks like he's up to the challenge of filling that Grantham void. He's looking incredible tonight so far.
As Dowie can't get the runner to fall. He was quiet in the first half. It'll go the other way. And you know you're doing a nice job defensively when you hold Zane Nash-Dowie to just 2 free throws made in that opening half. Here's Sims.
Sims, that look that Shelton Mitchell's had a few times where it seems the Citadel is going to give Clemson that top of the key 3 a few feet back. And Sims said, I'll take it.
Stallworth dogging Mitchell. How valuable is it to have 2 guards, not only as seniors, but 5th-year seniors in Division I major college basketball in this day and age?
Most teams don't have it. There are very few that have it. You'll see when Clemson plays Duke early on in the year, Clemson will have 2 23-year-old guards, and Duke will have 2 18-year-old guards. I think that's going to be a big factor in that one and throughout ACC play.
They got a guard with a smooth touch indeed. Marquise Reed, 35% beyond the arc a year ago. It's his first tray of the game in 4 attempts. He now has 13. He's right on the heels of Sims for the game scoring high. Bulldogs trying to find the right shot. Tigers have their biggest lead of the night. Stallworth can't get it to go. Trigger Balkum, the Citadel coach, wanted a foul. No look. Mitchell and Thomas game for the finish.
What a pass. And that time I think the defense thought Mitchell was going to go to the corner where Scarra was setting up for a 3. Mitchell looked him off. Beautiful dish to Elijah Thomas inside.
Trigger Balkum calling a timeout to slow the pace and as much to get in the ear of the official. Sean Hull, Tigers head to the bench. The biggest lead of the night has increased out to 17 points for Clemson.
Back here in Littlejohn Coliseum, Clemson leads the Citadel 57-40 in the midst of an 8-0 run. You see one of these plays here. Shelton Mitchell starts to attack the basket. He has that look. He has Scarra's wide open. Citadel's not ready for that. But he looks off the defender, looks at Scarra, doesn't go to Scarra, hits Eli Thomas right in the middle for an easy 2. And because Scarra's more of a threat, he's more of a threat offensively, that worked. But you look at Shelton Mitchell's eyes. He never even looked at Eli Thomas. That's a graduate student to a senior. 2 guys that have been playing together for a while.
Don't underestimate the experience of someone like David Scarra as we've got a quick whistle off the inbound. I wonder if Trigger Balkum and his lobbying to Sean Hull going into that timeout and into that timeout. And suddenly David Scarra called with the first foul here in the second half. Balkum may have been arguing as much, not necessarily that a foul had been committed by Clemson, but maybe contact with the backboard by a Clemson player?
I think that's what he was arguing. When Sims went up for the block, he hit the backboard. The board shook a little bit, and then Citadel's layup rimmed out. So I think he was frustrated with that. But that foul was big. Scarra now with 3 fouls. He heads to the bench. David Scarra has only played 2 minutes today because of foul trouble.
Frierson, a guy the Bulldogs want to get going. He's their best 3-point shooter, but so far in the game, Tigers have pretty much kept him in check. Ooh, the rejection from behind, and then a late whistle. And they're going to say that Kalen Harris, the first time with the block was okay, but then made contact with Eli Thomas's head.
It was a bit of a late call, but there was some contact late. At least that's what the officials are saying. He went up for a block from behind him, but you see he definitely hit him in the face. Got the ball, so blocked the ball, but it matters what happens after you do that, and there was a foul after the block.
Eli Thomas, 62% from the line last season. Out of Dallas, Texas, a guy who's looking to further build his stock for the next level. Real big to get him back for this final season after he began his career at Texas A&M and couple of free throws for the big guy. Tigers continue to grow that lead. Now it's out to 18 points.
That's one aspect of Elijah Thomas's game that Brownell really wants to see improvement is the free throw line. He's going to get to the line a lot from how he plays inside. He's got to be able to knock down a higher percentage.
And they'll get the foul called against the Tigers, Amir Sims.
Foul is called on Amir Sims. That's his second.
2 on him.
Amir Sims not very happy with that call. A little bit of body. I don't mind it. I think that's a good call, but Sims frustrated with that one.
Bruce Stallworth guy they're excited about. He's out of Los Angeles, so he's seeing the Pacific now. He's living right on the Atlantic. 4 on the shot clock. Forcing. Dowie battling, but Newman wins that one.
You could tell Stallworth wanted to pass it. He wasn't ready to shoot that ball. Didn't have an open look, though, to make the pass.
Oh, good job that time by Curran on the interception for the Bulldogs. Here's Frierson. And Sims doing a good job. Dowie, who Reed almost took it away, but Dowie able to finish, and the fella who averaged a big number a year ago with 15.5 points a game gets his first field goal tonight.
Tigers have done a great job slowing down Dowie. Like you said, Pete, only 4 points. He averaged last year in SoCon play. He averaged nearly 20. Clemson has shut him down.
Hesitation, Reed. Lobbing, Thomas. No, Thomas, yes.
Marquise Reed shakes his head because that negates Marquise Reed's assist on that play. Eli Thomas had a chance to give his guard an assist and couldn't do it.
Harris undersized to go down low at 6'4", so he kicks it out. Tigers will have to like this pace and the fact they're forcing the Citadel to recycle an offensive set. That is not what they want to do. Harris, strong drive inside. A little jawing at the end of that. And Amir Sims having a career-high night scoring, but now picking up his 3rd personal foul. Marquise Reed, he wanted the assist, didn't he?
He wanted the assist. It was a great pass, I think, to the defender, to the on-ball defender. It looked like it might have just been a floater, but it was a float pass, and Eli Thomas wanted to slam that home and give Reed the assist, but just couldn't find a way to do it.
Kalen Harris out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Citadel goes all over the place to get their guys. He's a junior. Actually finished his high school career in Georgia, and a year ago shot 70% from the line. In the 2017 campaign, he had a 30-point game at Arizona State. I mean, that's impressive to do it on any Pac-12 team's floor.
You see Hunter Tyson in for Clemson now. Now David Scarr and Amir Sims both with 3 fouls, so both on the bench and are probably going to stay there for a good part of this second half.
Thomas pulling down the rebound. That's a 1 out of 2 effort from the line. 17-point game. Tyson. And Newman, the freshman, rebounding a classmate's miss. Hung up over there. Smart move to Reed. Step through. Marquise Reed wants to start making that more regularly. Something he's really worked on, the offside. Going the other way is Stallworth. Count it, and he'll head to the line.
And that's a big miss from Reed. It was a tough shot, so you can't fault him too much, but you give up 2 points there, and then Citadel comes the other way and gets a layup there, and now a free throw attempt.
Take a timeout for you and take another look at that sequence moments ago.
Citadel getting out in transition. Right here you see Stallworth attack the basket, hang in the air, make the 2 and 1.
Believe it or not, we had 10 early lead changes and 7 ties. The Tigers have had a comfortable working margin now since about the midway mark of the second half, along with Kelly Gramlich. Pete Hannity with you back at Littlejohn. That is Lou Stallworth playing in his first game as a Citadel Bulldog, but a savvy collegian. He's played in now 80 college games. His 3rd stop, UTEP, and then Texas Rio Grande Valley, and now the Citadel Bulldogs. He's making a very nice debut for them, as that free throw puts him at 10 points on the night. And he's the first Citadel player to get into double figures. And brings his team back within 14. Full court pressure, Bulldogs. Tyson hesitated, goes to the hole. He'll go to the line. Another foul against Dowie.
Pete, you could tell he thought about it initially when he saw that much open space in front of him. You can see it on the replay. He gets the pass from Mitchell. He sees a lot of open space and he thinks, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to go try to dunk on this guy. And he drew the foul. But you see a freshman there still figuring out what he can do in the college game.
Tyson, the number 8 power forward in North Carolina, coming out of the Tar Heel State. And again, power forward because of the 6'8" frame. You can just imagine once he puts on bulk, he probably has another growth spurt in him, but some added bulk, and that'll really help him as an inside player. And maybe some nerves a little bit. Probably a better free throw shooter than what he's shown tonight, but he gets 1 out of 2 right there.
You're going to see a lot of Tyson and Newman right now because you have Skara and Sims, both with 3 fouls, probably going to sit till at least the next media timeout. We'll see what these freshmen can do.
Burgess can't get it to go, and the rebound taken by Clyde Trapp. Tigers pushing the pace. Mitchell lost his footing. Able to keep the possession for Clemson. He kind of bobbled the ball as he slid with it on the ground, so it wasn't a travel. Oh, knock away right there. And the quick hand shown by Williams. That's what he does. Frierson. Little steal and a tray. A year ago, Williams nearly 35 steals. Out of Greensboro, North Carolina's Eastern Guilford. Tigers the other way. Thomas, good recovery defense by Burgess, but for naught, as Thomas just uses that power inside.
Clemson with the turnover there, but went right back at the Citadel and attacked that defense. Didn't try to slow it down. Credit Clemson for staying to their game plan. But with the Citadel, if you turn the ball over and give them threes, because of how well they shoot it, they can get back in almost any game.
Boy, what a strong move to the basket. And the Citadel bench wanted the foul call, but nothing doing for Frierson. That one knocked away. Good job reaching in by Caden Rice. Here's Frierson. And Trapp might have gotten a hand on it. Citadel bench says it was deflected. It goes out of bounds. Call is Clemson's ball. Let us take a look. And I don't know if...
From that angle, it's tough to tell.
Yeah, I don't think Clyde Trapp got a fingernail on it. He just disrupted the flow for Frierson.
He got in his face, and that caused the 3 to be short there from Frierson. Frierson attempted nearly 10 threes a game last year. He already has 8 tonight. He's not going to stop shooting. We know that.
Tigers will get it back, and again, good recovery defense. You know, crazy team to play. Just like when you play the Citadel in football, you got to get ready for their option. Kind of a crazy team to play early in the year, but frankly, for a team that Brad Brownell said wasn't playing all that well, maybe just the kind of energy gain the Tigers needed. That one's knocked away. Alex Reed, Stallworth, and now Kern. A foul will be called, and he will shoot 3, I believe.
You notice with the Citadel, because they're down 14 when they get out in transition, and this is part of who they are. When they get out in transition, they're not exactly looking to attack the basket. They're looking to shoot a 3, and we saw that earlier with Frierson, who dialed one up earlier in transition. And it just happened again right here. The guards know to look for their shooters in transition. Stallworth could have had a layup there, but he chose to look for his shooter, Kern, in the corner, and then the foul on the 3. That's something that Brownell never wants to see. You never want to foul a 3-point shooter.
Connor Kern, a graduate, but like the Tigers' Javen White, he comes with 2 years of eligibility, and as a graduate was ready to play immediately. He averaged 4 points a game for the Red Wolves of Arkansas State in the Sun Belt a year ago. One of these guys that we understand kind of comes off the bench, and it's just kind of that fly in the ointment. He'll come off the bench, knock down a couple of threes, then he'll go away. You won't see him for a while. Then he'll suddenly come back in. Almost like a release specialist in baseball, except, of course, in basketball, you can keep bringing him back in. Trapp hung up in the backcourt. Citadel, just like that, back within 11 points. Tyson trying to change the tempo for the Tigers. Newman, real energy guy. Tigers have led in this game by as many as 18.
John Newman has had some athletic rebounds out of the guard position tonight.
Thomas defended by the much smaller Brown. Eli Thomas bothered by an ankle-foot area injury and had been on the shelf. Didn't play in the preseason games against UNCW or Barton. Backdoor idea, a good one, but the Tigers showing a really nice job. Clyde Trapp adjusting defensively. And pretty move, Reed. Now Trapp. And the lid remains on both ends. It remains an 11-point Clemson lead.
Citadel still trying to push it. They're going to set something up here. They looked like they wanted to get something in transition, but they are turned. Strong play to the basket, showing he's much more than just a three-point shooter.
Thomas, though, letting that one happen for Kern too easily, but a nice move on the big man by Connor Kern.
I was just about to compliment Eli Thomas. I thought that he's played well defensively. On-ball defense when he's matched up against smaller guys, even with that ankle injury. That time, he didn't get out and play the ball well. But previously in this matchup so far, I think he's played well defensively.
Down to 5 on the shot clock. Reed. And will simply let it go out of bounds. As we told you, never feel like you have the Citadel out of a ball game because they can score in a flurry. A year ago, they played 10 games in which 90 or more points were scored by them. They went 5-5 in those games. So they have the ability to light up the dial. Now, on the flip side, they were 332nd out of 351 in field goal defense at 48%. They've worked on that a little bit this year, but they know it's going to be a high number. But they also gave up 88 points plus per game, second to last in all of the NCAA a year ago.
Part of that is when you shoot a lot of threes, you have a lot of long rebounds, and that leads to easy transition buckets for Clemson. We've seen a lot of that today.
Harris off the pump fake, and he goes inside. A nice move around White. Brad Brownell saying that White still hasn't fully adapted to Clemson style, and I took that as code for needs to play more physically. But Citadel has made it a single-digit deficit. Down by 9. Trapp from the right wing. And Clyde Trapp, a big-time answer.
Clemson needed a three at that point to squash this Citadel run and their momentum. And Clyde Trapp comes through. Was 0 for 2 so far from 3 tonight. That's a big one from the sophomore.
Like his classmate Amir Sims, Clyde Trapp experiencing his career high in points, now has 11. It'll stay on this end if we've got an official timeout on the court. Citadel Bulldogs, a team that, as we've noted, they do not go away. Just ask guys like Lou Stallworth and his teammates like Kalen Harris. Tigers, though, lead is back out to 12. Tigers up by 12. Eli Thomas showing no effects of the recent injuries that beset him.
Eli Thomas, 13 points and 8 boards already tonight. 2 boards away from a double-double. He had 9 double-doubles all last year. And credit Clemson's guards, finding him in the right places for easy twos for Eli. He's also cutting well without the ball, knowing where his guards are going to want him. Eli Thomas, a good game to start his campaign when we thought he might not even play with that injury.
How about Marquise Reed? First the strip and then the balancing act. A high wire for number 2. Tigers had built this lead out to 18 points, but saw the Citadel pull within 9. Clemson looking to get another run going. Reed on the night doing a lot of things well and building on his steals total. That one from downtown. Shelton Mitchell. Another 3, first since he had a couple back-to-back from out front in the opening half, and he's getting close to a double-figure night.
Mitchell's 3rd 3 of the game. All of his points have come from beyond the arc. We know he can shoot the 3 well, but it seems that he's trying to raise his percentage even more from last year and become even more reliable beyond the arc.
Harris, soaring right there as a junior out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Like the wind sweeping down the plain.
Harris has had some bright spots. There's times where I feel like he disappears a bit, and then he comes back and makes a huge play. A streaky player for the Bulldogs, but does lead them in scoring now with 11.
He's a very important guy for them at 6'4". He can go in and help out down low, but he can do a lot of things. See what this team is going to be a tough out in their conference and probably a lot of their non-conference foes. We've got a trip to Texas coming up on the 16th of the month. Tigers with that 13-point advantage and the turnover for the Bulldogs. But you see that Kalen Harris is a guy who can do better than his 9.9 a game from a season ago.
He's done most of his damage attacking the basket. We saw the spin move earlier on Elijah Thomas, and that time the Red Sea just opened, and he had a wide open lane. A good defensive play previously there from David Skara. It's tough to play defense when you have 3 fouls. It's tough to navigate that. Skara didn't foul, forced the turnover. We'll see how he plays the rest of this game knowing he has 3 fouls. But 10 minutes to go, you can be a little more generous with those because you only have 10 more minutes of game time.
With that trip to Texas upcoming against Shaka Smart's team, as that one's not going to go for Mitchell. Can you imagine the frenetic pace in that game with Smart and the Brand Texas plays? Nice feed, and Nash Dowie can't finish. And we almost got a lap full of Duggar Balkum. Other end, how about Skara? He does the trick.
And that's why Balkum was so frustrated. You miss the 2 there, it leads to easy transition points for Clemson. That's a 4-point swing.
A little step through by Stallworth, not going to get the roll. And Reed and company trying to build that lead back out beyond 15. Foul going to be called. Hitting the deck was Kern, and I believe he'll bill the guilty party. Shelton Mitchell can do all kinds of things. Primo on his list, though, is getting assists.
Shelton Mitchell has been great passing the ball today, and specifically no look. The no look earlier to Eli, that time looking off the defense and finding Skara. He only has 3 assists, but it feels like more the way he's commanded the floor today and run this Clemson offense.
Mitchell nearly 4 assists a game a year ago, and he finished with the team lead at 86% from the line because he's got a stroke like that.
You can see the chemistry with Skara and with Eli Thomas and Shelton Mitchell. Add Marquise Reed into the mix. These guys have played together for a while. A few of them are graduate students. They've played a lot of college basketball. Mitchell just seems to know where his guys are going to be, and you got to credit Clemson's chemistry and the experience of these Tigers.
Stallworth getting a breather. Just off of the Citadel. Najdawi with 4 personal fouls for their team. Burgess, or I should say Brown, with 3 so far. And you see the team foul lead, though, belongs to Clemson here in the second half. Shelton Mitchell continues his good work. Najdawi inside. Counted if it goes, and he'll head to the line.
Very smart play from Najdawi, the senior, all SoCon performer. He struggled tonight because of foul trouble. He hasn't played that much, only played 14 minutes. But you see, he knows Eli has a few inches on him. He gets him in the air, goes right into him. To draw the foul is a smart play. To make that shot is an impressive play to find a way to put that in.
Najdawi, one of 3 Bulldogs who played internationally during the summer. His dad is Jordanian, so he went as the generation removal process. He went and played for the Jordanian national team in the Middle East. Reed going to find a trip to the line. So pretty interesting. Najdawi comes from Midlothian, Virginia, but has those roots. Another player, a newcomer for them, Dimitri Georgitis, who's also from Richmond and actually went to the same high school as Clemson defensive end Cleland Furl. He played overseas during the past 3 summers internationally, and Frierson, their guard, played for an Athletes in Action team in China, so some international experience. Meanwhile, Marquise Reed, a guy who with his teammate Shelton Mitchell got the experience of going through the NBA evaluation process. It certainly meant a whole lot to the native from the Baltimore, Maryland area, Washington, D.C. area, out of Landover. Marquise Reed, who's had a really solid night, has played havoc defensively against these Bulldogs, and if he makes this next free throw, he'll have the team lead in scoring on the night.
Marquise Reed also, he has a double-double, 11 rebounds, a quiet 11 rebounds. Doesn't really strike you that he's pulled down 11 boards, 15 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, just for good measure, just to throw those in there.
Yeah, why not? Averaged 16 points roughly a game a year ago for this Tigers team, did Reed. Thomas gets a breather. Sims back out on the floor, so under 10 to play in regulation. Backdoor feed for Reed of the Citadel, the rejection down low.
What an athletic play from Clyde Trapp. We haven't seen that from Trapp before. A big defensive play, elevate and get the block it off the backboard.
6'4", and with those hops, though, and that's the kind of thing he can do. Sims going to try a long 2. And a battle between a couple of Bulldogs, won by Quason Williams. Frierson steps and shoots and drains it. Matt Frierson, 114 3-pointers a year ago, a single season record. He's 3rd on their charts. He should shatter their all-time 3-pointer mark this year.
He has the ultimate green light.
New career high in rebounds, by the way, for Reed with 12. The 11 he previously had came against Hofstra a year ago down in the hometown of the Citadel at that tournament in Charleston.
Also a career high. That was Clyde Trapp's first ever block. So that's got to be a career high in blocks.
Long one that time. Skara and Sims, and the deflections worked perfectly.
This is what Clemson wants. A big rebound there because you can run the clock with this 13-point lead, milk the clock, use all 25 seconds and get a good shot. Or hit a 3 with 16 seconds to go. If you're going to knock down shots like that, you can shoot it whenever you want in the shot clock.
Reed's 2 out of 6, 18 points in the game, 2 out of 6 beyond the arc for Reed, and the answer by Williams, who Shot 32% last season. We told you he was in a bit of a rut shooting-wise, but pretty good answer for him.
We've mentioned how much Citadel loves to shoot the three. Clemson and the Citadel are shooting from three-point land almost identically tonight. Citadel 10 of 25, Clemson 9 of 24. Not a big difference there, which is somewhat surprising.
They will get Williams for being a little aggressive. Kelly, I credit you for pulling out a stat on the night, and that would be Clyde Trapp doing something he'd never done collegiately.
Big block shot from Clyde Trapp. First career block.
Tigers lead by 13, going for a 62nd win all-time in the 84th meeting between these two proud Palmetto State schools. Eli Thomas and company have been working the paint. The Citadel, a team that is used to hitting the threes, but they've had their moments as well, trying to hang around a SoCon team in ACC country tonight, going for the upset. With Kelly Gramlich, Pete Hannity with you back at Littlejohn. Tigers doing a good job, though, since they built that working margin in the opening half to keep the Bulldogs at bay.
They've maintained the margin because Clemson has hit some threes of their own. 9 threes for the Tigers tonight, averaged 8 makes per game last year. Mitchell, Reed, and company have found their way to knock threes down from beyond the arc.
Citadel goes zone. They tried that a little bit tonight. Skara tries to exploit it. There's Stallworth.
Skara's been quiet, mainly because of that foul trouble. He hasn't been able to get in an offensive rhythm. I think you'll see more from Skara offensively as the season progresses.
Stallworth defended by Mitchell. Shot clock now at 15. Nash Dowie, big on big, and inside on Thomas. That is a top shelf move by Zane Nash Dowie. He's moved into 16th all time in career points of the Citadel, and then a scrappy play by a guy who is a very scrappy player, Quayson Williams, and a little bit of momentum gained by the Bulldogs.
And like we've said, Pete, we've warned about this entire second half. You can't count the Citadel out because they can make threes and they can score quickly. Quayson Williams with a big charge there, and then Nash Dowie, you said big on big, and I hear what you're saying, but Eli Thomas is not used to defending guys that are that quick. At about 6'8", he's not going to defend guys like that in the ACC.
Frierson's used to hitting him with guys in his face, couldn't that time. Bulldogs keep it. Stallworth on Skara. Ooh, nice backdoor move by the graduate transfer for this Bulldogs team, making a very good impression in game number 1. They love his athleticism and all that he brings to the table. And
now the Citadel is within single digits. They're back in this game, and they realize that they can put a few points together. They can really get back in it. Clemson needs to run some clock, but also needs to find a way to get a bucket here.
Tigers have seen the Bulldogs get as close as 9 and answer. Let's see if Mitchell can, and he does. Huge
shot from Mitchell, the veteran, the graduate student, and that time they brought a double to Eli Thomas, which freed up Shelton Mitchell. But credit Mitchell for stepping in and knocking down that three.
It's really a simple principle in basketball. When you reverse the ball, chances are good things happen. Nash Dowie can't get that one. Nice idea by Reed as he saw Thomas down court, but Stallworth recovering.
Thomas did not see Stallworth coming, and he brought the ball down for a second in transition, and Stallworth took advantage of that. Stallworth just scrappy, running up behind him. Eli Thomas, I'm sure he heard footsteps, but it wasn't sure that Stallworth was that close to him.
Mind you, that is Stallworth recovering and a 6'1" guy rejecting the 6'9" Elijah Thomas. Tigers, though, hoping to build a little momentum back. Mitchell, teardrop, no, he'll go to the line. So Shelton Mitchell on a night that he's tied his career high and made 3-pointers that he established last year against Georgia Tech, and a chance to add to his 14-point total.
Shelton Mitchell attacking the basket because he's hit 4 threes. The Citadel already respected his ability to shoot, but that time you have to rush out on the shooter. You have no choice. And Mitchell took advantage on the closeout and attacked the basket. He hasn't made a 2-point field goal tonight yet, Pete. All threes and free throws for Shelton Mitchell.
Reed leads the way with 18 points. Mitchell building on a nice night after averaging just over 12 a game a year ago. He's got 15. Kalen Harris picked up that 4th personal, but at this stage in the game, Duggar Bauckham hates to, but he's got to remove him. Tyler Burgess will come back in. Burgess, experienced player. We told you grew up not far from this Clemson campus, over in the Liberty Easley area. Attended both Liberty High and Easley High schools during his career. 14-point game. Bulldogs trying to get a run going. Nash Dowie thought about giving it to Kern. Thomas defends on the block.
Good defense from Elijah Thomas. Nash Dowie took him to the basket earlier. An adjustment there from Eli.
Stallworth defended by the freshman Trapp, and they're going to call the foul on Thomas.
Thomas is staring down the official, but that's going to be a foul every time. He broke the plane. He didn't keep his hands straight up.
18 fouls now on Clemson, and for Elijah Thomas, he picks up personal foul number 3.
Even though that is Eli's third foul, to pick up 3 fouls and we're about 35 minutes into this game, that's an improvement for Elijah Thomas. He's struggled to stay on the floor. He's struggled to stay out of foul trouble. And he's done a good job tonight being active for his teammates and being able to be on the floor because he hasn't been in foul trouble.
Stallworth tries to make it 1 out of 2, and he does. 72% last year at Texas Rio Grande Valley for Stallworth. 13-point game coming up on 5 to play. Reed, the hesitation, acceleration, then the feed, and Thomas will head to the line.
Thomas knew he should have finished that. He knew that he had Reed in there, I believe it was Kalen Harris, in the air. He knew he could go up and get the foul, but he's got to be able to finish that, and he knows it. You can see the frustration for him.
Harris had gone to the bench with the 4th foul, but they got him back in there, and that'll do it for him on the night. So Kalen Harris, a guy who will be a big weapon for this Citadel team, leaves with 11 points, second in scoring on the Bulldog squad.
That's also big with Eli because even though he is an improving free throw shooter, you'd rather take the 2 points that you're guaranteed and have him shoot 1 free throw than have him shoot 2 free throws, where he was under 70%, around 62% last year from the line.
Elijah Thomas shooting 2.
Thomas going to the line, the big fella a year ago, as we noted, 62% on his 3 free throws. And you'd mentioned a guy like this, something that not only will his position coach, Antonio Reynolds-Dean, work with him on, but constantly the coaching staff will harp on the free throw shooting and its importance for a big man like this.
It's so important for a big man because you're going to get fouled. It's inevitable. If you play physically inside like Eli Thomas does, you have to be able to shoot the ball better. Now, they're not asking him to shoot the ball like Marquise Reed, to be 87% from the line, but to get up above that 70% mark, I think that's the realistic goal for Eli Thomas. And tonight, he's 3 of 4, 75%. I think Brownell and the staff would take that any day of the week.
15-point game, 5 Tigers in double figures scoring. 2 of them, Trapp and Sims, have established new career highs in the first game of their sophomore seasons. Nice job by Trapp right there. He created the steal, and then he stepped on the sideline. What a great job by Clyde Trapp. His momentum was actually taking him away from the ball, but he still created that. And
Coach Brownell's trying to tell the official that he was pushed. That's why he ended up being out of bounds. It's because he took a push there. We'll see. We'll take a look at the replay here.
I don't know
Looks
if Brad
like he
would win
just
that argument.
Was trying to tiptoe the line, and one toe stepped out of bounds.
Looked like a defensive switch that Trapp was in the process of making on that play, and still was able to create the steal. And again, they can get really 25 quality minutes out of him per game. They will take that, and you could see that number go up even more because he has all the ability in the world to be a big-time contributor to this squad. Williams looked at the crossover for a moment. Bulldogs know they got to get going down 15. Nash Dowie will head to the line, and Thomas committing his 4th personal, and that'll be 3 free throws upcoming for the senior for Citadel.
And that's frustrating for Clemson, for their coaching staff. That's the 2nd time you fouled a 3-point shooter tonight. That might happen once every couple games because you get pushed into a guy or whatever, but to happen twice in one game, Clemson can't afford to let that happen, and Eli Thomas knows it.
Nash Dowie, 71% last season when he averaged 15.5 a game. He had a 37-point game last year against Chattanooga. And the Citadel team, they arrived at the SoCon tourney as one of the lower seeds. They played on the first day. They defeated their military rival VMI, and then against the eventual SoCon champion UNCG, a UNCG team that nearly upset Gonzaga in the first round of the NCAA tournament. The Bulldogs were down by just 1 point at the half, and they were playing that tournament without Kalen Harris available to them, so they're picked middle of the pack in the SoCon going in, but with their style and their offensive prowess, you can see they're going to be a tough out in their league each night.
There's no doubt they have more experience this year. They're going to continue to play their style and hopefully shoot the ball a little better than they have tonight. But one of the keys for the Citadel, Najdawi has to stay out of foul trouble for them throughout the year. His 4 fouls tonight have limited him in terms of his minutes.
13-point game after the Najdawi free throws. And the reach-in will be called on Frierson. I don't even know if he was trying to do just that. Duggar Balkum, I think, can't believe a foul was called based simply on the contact. I don't know if he wants his guys to foul, with this much time remaining.
That's one of the head scratchers of tonight, Pete. I'm not quite sure where the foul was there, and I don't think Frierson or Coach Balkum know where it was either.
I don't know if Clyde Trapp even knows, but he has a chance to add to his 11-point output. Can't get it to go, but there's Skara finishing inside. Brad Brownell says David Skara, who joined the team after 9 games a year ago, started playing in games rather, figured it out that a year ago he just needed to be a defensive and rebounding guy, but he's added some offense to his game. And a foul will be called inside that time on Sims. But Skara able to do just this, and he'll need to contribute offensively this year.
We said that Skara has improved offensively, and he has, but I know Brownell still wants him to do what David Skara did last year. Rebound and defend. Do the little things, do the dirty work, and that time Skara, right place, right time, and a good finish. If you can get 6, 8, maybe 10 points from Skara on a given night, I think Coach Brownell will be good with that. And he has 6 tonight, and only 16 minutes because he's been on the bench with foul trouble.
Sims with 4 personal fouls along with Eli Thomas for the Tigers. One of the Bulldogs is already fouled out. That would be Kalen Harris, and they've got another big man for them, and their best big man, Najdawi, who has 4. So the free throws make it a 13-point game once again.
And the Citadel's still going to keep pressuring because they have to force some turnovers here. Down 13, got to find a way to turn Clemson over.
And from Croatia to you, the Valpo transfer Skara showing you a nice move.
You know what the students call Skara, Pete? The Croatian sensation. There he is right there.
We're happy he came back. Runner that time won't go for Connor Kern, playing his first game as a Citadel Bulldog. But he will have free throws upcoming after the official timeout. And Skara can fly as well. Little finger roll finish at the end. Tigers up by 15, but a couple of scoring milestones, if you will. First off, let's give credit where it is due. There is Mr. Tim Bray. Tiger Nation knows all about that legend. He tweeted today that 11 scored 100 against the Citadel last year. The Tigers have scored 100 points, nearly 300 games, going all the way back to 09 against Winthrop. Now, on the flip side, as you see Clemson has reached the 91-point mark, we want to give credit to our statistician working with us this year, Kathy, for noting the 91 points scored tonight, more than any Clemson game in all of last year's 25-win ball club, in which they scored 90 in that ACC tourney win against Boston College, which just turned into an offensive fest. But that is quite the number to start the season on. Now, the Citadel lends itself to high-scoring games by both teams, but a Clemson team that should be able to produce some points if they can hit them like they have tonight. As we've got a timeout on the court, and let us give proper credit to Kathy, our statistician, doing great work for us this evening indeed. Kelly and Pete with you as we're in the final stages of this ball game, and well, I think a lot of things have been accomplished. I think they'll find some aspects of the game ball handling wise the Clemson coaches will, but Citadel frenetically has created some of that. But I've got to think the great on this film, especially since Brad wasn't happy with the performance in the 2 preseason games, this will be the one he likes best of the 3.
Clemson has been better defensively in this game than they were in the preseason, and they might let Citadel up into the 80s or whatnot, but Citadel is such a prolific offensive team with how many possessions they generate for themselves. I think Clemson has been more physical. I think they've gotten out on shooters. They've been aware of shooters, and so you have to be pretty satisfied with this defensive film, as you said, Pete, if you're Clemson. Only 10 turnovers for the Tigers as the Citadel has pressured a bit. A few mistakes here and there from Shelton Mitchell, who's had the ball a lot, but I think one thing you like if you're Clemson is the scoring balance. 5 guys in double figures right now: Reed, Mitchell, Thomas, Trapp, and Sims. If you can get that type of balance throughout the year, good things are going to happen.
Out of the timeout, Brad Brownell wanted to maintain the possession. Tigers will work some clock. And against the zone by the Citadel, that makes it just a little bit easier. Sims on his way to the hole, and he shows a gentle touch. Amir Sims having a big night, 16 points.
A smart decision from Sims. I think last year he might have taken that three because he had a look. But this year, he's a threat to shoot the three, so the defense has to be out on him more. He gives a little pump fake and attacks the basket, gets a higher percentage shot.
And you look at that 78 next to the Citadel, and few times last year where they held under 80. And they'll probably get past 80 tonight, but maybe not too much beyond it. Kern, and they're going to get him for the walk, and Clyde Trapp fundamentally doing everything he was supposed to do on that play.
Clyde Trapp has been, in terms of expectations, I think Trapp has been the most impressive Tiger tonight because you weren't sure how he was going to evolve from a freshman to a sophomore, and you see Sims there with the bucket. But Trapp has given you scoring. He hasn't turned the ball over, only one turnover, 3 assists. He's played well defensively, had the big block. I think Brownell's very encouraged with what he's seen from Trapp so far tonight.
Good idea by the sophomores that time to see what the Citadel D may do out of that. Well, it almost looks like a 1-3-1, so you look to the corners for an open shot.
It's a spread out 2-3, but they have to guard that post at the high post, so they have to kind of move it a bit.
Bulldogs create the turnover right there. Tigers get ready for a visit from the Eagles of North Carolina Central. Will not be easy. They're the reigning champs of the MEAC. They're in here Friday night at 7 p.m. Citadel plays again on Monday night against Mid-Atlantic Christian for what will be their home opener. So the Bulldog fans excited to see their team. We've got some road trips in November to Texas. Also James Madison knocked away that time as Stallworth was going to the hole. And Shelton Mitchell recovering.
Marquise Reed stepping up to the challenge there defensively. The Citadel isolated Stallworth, and Reed held his own.
Sims for Reed. Skara. David Skara draining the three.
Beautiful ball movement. Marquise Reed attacked the middle of the paint and found a shooter. And this year, Skara's a shooter. He's shooting the ball much better from three, showing that he can add some offense to his game.
Only shot 23% beyond the arc a year ago. So for Brad Brownell, a milestone has been reached. The 96 points scored, the most under the Clemson head coach now in his 9th season. And I'll tell you, we'll look for Skara again on this play because another guy who left this team, he was only here for 1 year after he transferred in, was Mark Donnell, the Michigan transfer, and he gave the Tigers a big guy that created matchups who could hit the three, and I think Skara needs to make up for some of the big baskets that Donnell made last season. Oh, and that time they thought about getting it to him on his way to the hole.
It was a good idea. Sims put a little too much on that pass, a little too much, but I do think Skara can fill that stretch 4 void. You're going to see both Sims and Skara do that, and I think that's good for Clemson because they both bring something a little different, and that's going to be tough to defend.
Bulldogs were hoping for their first ever win against a ranked opponent. That will not happen this evening, and the Tigers will make it 16 in a row in the series against this Charleston-based team. Stallworth getting bailed out on the whistle. And Skara committing a personal foul, and that'll be his 4th.
Stallworth continuing to attack the basket. He's led the Bulldogs in scoring tonight with 15. Not great from the floor, but you can see that he's going to be able to command that offense for the Citadel throughout the year.
Number 13, Lou Stallworth, shooting 2.
Lou Stallworth's debut game as a Citadel Bulldog, and he leads them in scoring with 15 points. And look at that. He leads them rebounding with 6. The 2 guards have led their respective teams in cleaning the glass with Stallworth and Reed for the Tigers. Marquise Reed, 13 rebounds.
I'm not sure if Reed has ever led Clemson in rebounding in a game. I'm pretty sure that's never happened.
And Stallworth tonight also has given it up 5 times, but he's got a good number of assists to counter that number. And nothing doing that time. And there's Skara. And Reed recovers. We arrive at a minute to go here in regulation. And we've got a foul. So Marquise Reed will get a chance to add on to his 18-point night.
That's not the guy you want to put at the line if you're the Citadel. Clemson's career leader in career free throw percentage at 87.1% for his career. Not who you want at the line.
Number 24, Tyler Burgess. And number 20, Demetrius.
Brad Brownell about to get win number 150 at the helm of this Clemson team. Got his ball club back to the NCAA tourney for the first time since the 2010 and 11 season last year, and the Tigers rolled over the early competition. out in San Diego. And then I think the Kansas Jayhawks were happy there weren't a couple of minutes left in that ball game in Omaha in the Sweet 16. And Lyles Davis about to check in, one of the walk-ons.
This is how much confidence Brownell has in Marquise Reed to put Lyles Davis in for a shooter.
Yeah.
You want to get Davis in the game. You know Marquise Reed's going to knock it down.
Yeah.
So you have no hesitation to sub him in for the shooter. I love that.
Reed will head to the bench, a 20-point night to begin his final collegiate season. He had a big game in here as a freshman, but playing for another team, Robert Morris. But he has done great work in the past 3 seasons, and his return to action came with the reopening of Littlejohn. And likewise for Shelton Mitchell. And the turnover by the Bulldogs. They just checked in one of their young players, Jerry Higgins, and that's not how he wanted to start things out in his first game.
Higgins with the turnover, but he wasn't going to allow Clyde Trapp to have an easy layup right there. Credit him for that. He was gonna go out swinging with a hard foul.
Jerry Higgins out of Cleveland, Ohio, St. Joe's High. Who they think can contribute some points. See him standing behind Clyde Trapp. He averaged better than 24 as a high school senior. And Clyde Trapp, good night for him, 12 points.
Adding on to his career high. And only 1 turnover for Clyde Trapp. At times last year as a freshman, he was a bit erratic with the ball. To only have 1 turnover in 26 minutes, it's a big improvement for Trapp.
25 times now in Reed's career that he's hit 20 points. And Clyde Trapp gets them to 100. Is that part of some kind of like a taco giveaway or a hamburger giveaway or something?
I think they did it for Tim Beret. Now Tim Beret can change his stat.
I got you. That was for Tim. Dimitri Georgitis just into the game over Javen White. I think the folks simply want to see 102. Half a minute to play. Tigers almost about a 6-second differential, so they may try to get it to that guy at the bottom of your screen, Davis. And Davis, little fadeaway action. Oh, just grazes the rim. Comes down to Williams. Higgins. And a foul will be called, and Higgins will get a chance to score in his first collegiate game with just over 11 to play.
The crowd really wants to see a bucket from number 3 for Clemson, Lyles Davis, who is a senior, a 4-year walk-on here at Clemson, the scout team point guard, and by all accounts, one of the most respected players on the team. A good ball player, just a little small for the D1 level, but a really good ball player, a good point guard, can really pass it as well.
Jerry Higgins. Well, Duggar Baucom seeing the Clemson Tigers hit the century mark tonight. He'll probably see other teams at the century mark tonight. Lyles Davis, maybe they're setting up a play for him, but Baucom says this is going to be the best team he's had in 4 years with the Citadel, and you've seen some signs out of that proclamation tonight. I don't know if they're going to just try to dribble it out here. Looks like the Tigers going to do just that and be more than happy with a 34th consecutive season-opening win, a 100-80 triumph against the Citadel Bulldogs. And the beat goes on for this Clemson team that had the fabulous campaign a year ago. And congratulations, Brad Brownell, 150 wins as the Clemson head coach.
150 wins for Coach Brownell. They reach 100 for the first time since 2009 and the most points scored ever in the Coach Brownell era.
Very impressive stuff by this Clemson team. You like what you see on both ends of the floor in a frenetic pace kind of game.
6 players for Clemson in double figures. You see the balance with Trapp, Sims, Skara, Thomas, Mitchell, and Reed. The sophomores, Skara and Trapp, playing well tonight. 24 combined points. You're going to want to see that from those 2 guys.
Brad Brownell now 4-0 all-time against the Citadel Bulldogs. Tigers get out of the gate in fine fashion. Amir Sims and Clyde Trapp had season and personal, I should say, best for them scoring-wise. A lot of fun to watch this game tonight, Kelly.
Marquise Reed still paced the Tigers, 20 points for him. Look for him to have a big year. A career double-double for him.
For Kelly Gramlich, Pete Hannity, this has been a presentation of ESPN.